But, I mean, that's just not a good look for you, Junior. All right. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Guys have been great. All supers will go to the top. You know what? I'm glad here we didn't get to the Goedert thing because I'm going to get to it again here. There's a report going by wait a minute. I got to make sure the email that Zander sent me and the fucked up call he gave me one time. Sills, you didn't quote it with Jeff McClain. And I got to put it in quotes that there could be a shot that they may release him. He may not be on the team. All right. So let's get to our boy. By the way, they're doing a great job there. John McMullen, man, I tell you, boy, Zander, man, going back and forth with him, man, that's entertainment. It's absolutely entertaining because I can see on Zander's face, he just starts doing this. Yeah, he just starts doing this. And by the way, let's bring him in. He's wearing a hurricane hat right now, and I absolutely love it. Hit that like button. We bring in from Birds 365, Big Z, Zander Krause. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, Big Cells? How you living, brother?
Man. Look at you all.
I'm not in my main studio, I obviously, but
look at you, man. You're all hurricane colored out here. I dig it, man.
Yeah, I heard you on the show a little earlier today talking about the clip I'm supposed to get for you. Well, where's my hurricane gear? You told me this months ago. Where's my hurricane gear? I would rock the hurricane. I told everybody because I love Big Sills so much and because JAKIB stands with Big Sills, I will be a fan of the Miami Hurricanes. They're not in the SEC. I don't have any issue rooting on the Miami Hurricanes. So I'm waiting on some of the Miami Hurricane merch to come in, brother.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. As soon as the program's over, instead of wasting my time on certain folks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually at Mario Cristobal, and I'm going to make sure that you and him are in touch with one another so that they make sure that the equipment manager guy, and I'm going to at him as well, that we get gear up to Big Z up there so that we can get this stuff going here. Speaking of that, Big Z, I heard you talking this morning, and I'll ask you again. The reports by McClain, who I actually like his work. How about this, man? Would you be shocked if they cut him?
I think that'd be crazy, but the only way I think they would do that is if they have a good contingency. Like, so, because I was saying this earlier, and I get some of the people who are like, I'm ready to move on from Goedert. Like he gets hurt a lot, and he's 30 now. I understand that, but like we have a Super Bowl window, and for the same reason, people will say, well, you should trade Nolan Smith or Cooper DeJean or Devontae Smith or whoever, insert whatever name you want to get a guy like Myles Garrett because the window is now. Well, the same thing applies to a tight end. If I can't get better at that position, now, unless it's a numbers crunch and they literally have to move on from him because they need that salary cap, which, by the way, I don't think it's that. Unless it's that, I don't see why you would want to get worse at the tight end position right now with the window in front of you and everything's in front of this football team. So now, look, maybe Howie has a contingency. Maybe there's some plan in place that, they have for Dallas Goedert where it would be better. But, obviously, even just looking right now, all right, there's a guy like Michael Mayer out there. All right, that's not a bad option. A 24-year-old, young guy coming out of Las Vegas. I don't hate that option. All right. Then you have the NFL draft. And, let's be real, Sills, the tight end position is one of the positions in football that's changed more than maybe any other position. Tight ends today are glorified receivers. We don't need a glorified receiver in this offense. We need a guy that can put a body on somebody, block, and catch the 3, 4, 5 passes that they might get a game. That's not that easy to get. And if you're telling me to go to the draft, all right, I like it, but I can almost say with certainty, not 100% certainty, but 95%, that guy's not going to be as good as Goedert would be next year. He's just not, so I don't like the idea of it just because I don't see a contingency right now in the room. Maybe they would go and get one, but I have a hard time believing they would move on from Dallas Goedert right now. I would extend him, Sills. I said that earlier today on the show. I'd extend him, kick that can down the road on the cap, give him a signing bonus up front. You know how we can spread out that cap hits, draft a tight end in round 3 this year, and now your team looks good. You have continuity, and you have a replacement plan for the future when ultimately it does end with Dallas Goedert.
If Tyler Warren falls, which I don't think he will.
He will.
say he gets to 15 or something like that. You think Howie would make a run at him and take him in the first? Would he do? Hey, look, I think everything with this guy is now officially on the table after I saw a running back and linebacker get a brand new contract. I think that guy's willing to do anything to keep that team in a position where you, and again, do I think that guy fall? I think it's all going to be dictated on what quarterbacks go and where they go and these edge rushers. I think there's about 5 or 6 good edge rushers that you could see in the top 15 picks. And say that kid from Ole Miss gets in the conversation about getting into the first round. Zander, I've seen more shitty quarterbacks drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
I mean, Brandon Weeden was drafted in the first round. The guy was totally terrible, man.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think if that guy is somewhere down there, do you think he'd make a run at him?
Hard to say you wouldn't. I mean, that's the one tight end in the draft. I think that would be, but here's the other problem is I think, and we've talked, I think we've really broken down well this offseason about how this team is built in terms of all that money that goes on the offense. And the reason it works right now is because how we drafted so well on defense. So I do look at that and I'm like, all right, Warren would be great, but I'm giving up that first round pick to go obviously move up. I'm probably going to have to give up a second round pick? Maybe a third round pick
to get up there. Yeah.
By the way, I don't even know if 32 and 64 is enough to get you into the top 15 or top 20. It might not be.
Correct.
It might not be. So now you're looking at multiple assets in that draft on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know if the team is ready for that. Now, I like your idea because I do think Tyler Warren is the one guy that might make you think about it, but the one thing with him too is, and I really like the player, don't get me wrong, but I'm not so, I think people are putting the cart before the horse with him, and they got the Brock Bowers in their mind right now. I think he's a really good player. I think Tyler Warren is going to be an exceptional tight end in the NFL. I'm not sold that he's going to be a year one impact like Brock Bowers had, or really anything close. I think he's got some things to get better at. He's a little tight in the hips. I don't know how good he's going to be in the blocking game in a team like this. So I don't think I would do it. Even if he fell to, where are you thinking? 15 he falls to?
15.
18?
I think anything outside of 15 is stupid talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like him. I don't want people to think I don't like Tyler. I do like Tyler Warren, but I don't think they would send the assets to go up and get him. I really don't.
Boy, after knowing and seeing what happened with Brock Bowers last year, he was the 13th pick in the draft. That guy had the best tight end in the history of the National Football League.
Yeah.
With Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell as his quarterback. I mean, talk about shitty QBs. All right, how about this? What Jason Cole said: 1 year, $8 million. Jonathan Allen, how you doing? You ready?
1 year, $8 million. I like that.
And then this is how you pitch it to him.
1 year, $8 million. I can work with that.
How about this? This is how you pitch it to him. Listen here, man. You're in the division. You're home in the NFC East. You don't have to really drive but a couple hours down to Philadelphia. On top of that, here's what we do for you. Did you not see what Barkley did? Did you not see what Bond did? Did you not see what potentially we did with Becton? I think they're going to. You come to Philadelphia here. We reward people who go out and perform. Can you imagine Jonathan Allen, and there's your help. You would have Jonathan Allen. This is your D-line. Nolan Smith, Carter, Jonathan Allen, and you would probably have to draft a kid, whoever that is. That's your front four. There's your help on double teams with Allen.
Dude.
Sitting next to him. And he's 28.
If you had Jonathan Allen next to Jalen Carter, that would be nasty. That would be straight up nasty. Now, I'm a Bama guy. I love him. Obviously, he was incredible.
We love some SEC boys too.
I know, but Jonathan Allen is a damn good player. So I love that. I mean, if you're telling me it's 1 year, $8 million, see, I was thinking he was going to be more than that.
No, wait, you're Jason. No, he thinks 1 year, $8 million, $9 million bucks. I think that's doable.
Now it's a short-term plan for the Eagles. They'll probably still draft a defensive tackle.
That's why it's 1 year.
Right. 1 year, 2 years. I mean, he's an older guy. I think he's 30 now, Jonathan Allen. But boy, that would be really good, man. That would, you know what else that would do? That would make Jordan Davis a better player too.
Oh,
that would make Jordan Davis better. It would open up things for edge rushers. Oh my God, Bond
make
would
Bond better.
Spawn would, oh my goodness, that would be a crazy front. Boy, if it's 8 million, you got to think how he's interested in that. By the way, he is Jonathan Allen. You guys remember a couple of years ago, he was he was upset with the Commanders organization because he was tired of losing. And that's a guy that I think has the right mentality that you want in your locker room too. So I think he would fit in super well. Obviously, his championship DNA from his days in college. I like it. I think that'd be really good. But yeah, Steve does bring up a good point. He's struggled with injuries in his career. He has certainly struggled with injuries in his career. But Steve, the one thing I struggle with on the injury stuff is, like Sil said it yesterday, Saquon Barkley struggled with injuries before here. You can never legislate them, so I try not to factor them too much into decisions like this. But I understand where you're coming from with that. But we'll see. I do think that'd be a pretty good defensive line, no?
Oh my God, it would be insane. All right. This Slay stuff, I'm not on his side with this. The hurt shit about, even if you believe that, why are you doing that 4 weeks after the Super Bowl?
That was my point. Yeah.
Why are you going there with that? Even if you don't believe that, why are you publicly saying that on a Cowboy podcast? And what are you trying to actually do? Then the backhanded slaps towards Gardner. Do you agree with me? I think that guy is a front-running fucking leader. And when shit's bad, what is the first thing he does? He does this shit. Hey, I'm playing great. It ain't me. And I don't know, man. I know a lot of people like him. And you know what winning does? It hides low character. Because I gauge people on character when shit's hitting the fan and when adversity hits. Not when you're running high on the hog like that. I'll tell you one thing I've done this week. This week, I've given Howie more credit and I've given him more praise. And I have thought lesser of Darius Slay this week on how he's been butthurt on being released. Am I wrong?
I agree with everything you said up until that last point. I will not allow this to let me think lesser of Slay because he said something on a podcast. Now, a lot of things can be true. A lot of things can be true with this. All right. Darius Slay has clearly proven to us time and time again that he values more than we would like him to value going on podcasts, talking to people. He likes that stuff. For whatever reason, maybe he wants a career in media. Maybe he likes it. Maybe he wants to be friends with Micah Parsons and all these guys. He values that more than we do as people. I've known that. I'm not surprised that he went on and said that. Where I do agree with you is, why talk about teammates? Just wait until you're done. Wait until you're done to have those conversations. What are you doing that now for? But I do think there's also an overreaction too. And I'm not mad at CJ either. Like, I don't dislike either of these players because of this. I view it as prideful guys. CJ Gardner-Johnson, let's be real, for all the good he is on this team, he's very emotional. He's very erratic. That's part of what makes him a great player. So, again, I'm not one of the people that says, CJ, don't be CJ. No, you can be CJ. I'm cool with you being CJ, but I'm going to take it at face value. You overreacted a little bit because, as John pointed out to me on the show this morning, Vic Fangio, Vic Fangio, the leader of the defense, said publicly on a press conference a couple months ago that Reed Blankenship is the leader of our secondary. He is the guy that talks and does the communication on the secondary. I think Slay, I don't think he meant it as a slight at CJ. I don't think he was even thinking CJ. I think he was like, Reed's the guy that speaks on the field. When you talk about a 35-year-old guy hanging him up or moving on, the next communicator is going to be Reed Blankenship. I don't think it was a shot at CJ Gardner-Johnson. But again, I'm not mad at CJ. That's the kind of stuff that gets him going. That's the kind of stuff he's thrived on in his career. So I'm not mad at Slay. I'm not mad at CJ Gardner-Johnson. The one thing I would say about Slay is I wish he would shut up a little bit more. You just talk. You're like Sileo. You're like me. You talk too much, bro. You're a professional, but I get it. It's all good. I'm not mad at either of them. I will say the Slay thing, though. Slay is a little not my favorite type of guy, but I have no issue with him.
This is why and you know what? And to tie this all up, what you just said, I don't really give a shit on March 7th. You just come off a Super Bowl win. Yeah, right. I don't really give a shit about that because come September 8th, let's go, bro. Let's go back and get it in there and go do it again. Hey, you want to be divas in the offseason? You want to do your podcasting? You want to build your brand? That's when you actually do it. It's in the offseason and not during the season like that idiot in Dallas missing Parsons. That guy I have a problem with. But if you want to do this now, and look, like I said, you know where you get the equity? You won. You mean, so I'm going to always do this. Listen, especially a guy comes from the greatest shit talking program in the history of college football. I mean, I get it, and I'm with him. As long as you perform, I'm going to give you that sliding scale too. Hey, you give me all pro years, you can talk all the bullshit you want. Same thing with Owens and or AJ Brown and all that bullshit.
Right.
I'm all good with that as long as you go out there and produce. What about AJ making those comments that he thinks, and I'll use a Sileoism here, he thinks the Eagle, community is a little bit, fucked up the way he talks. I mean, what'd you think of that?
And I'm an AJ Brown guy. Yo, AJ, this was one you could have just stayed on the sideline. By the way, you're talking about the Eagle community. And by the way, I'm an Eagle fan. I'm the first person to admit people of Philadelphia sometimes wear their emotions on their sleeve a little too much. All right. I understand that. But AJ, just stay on what are you chiming in? And by the way, why is this Eagles community? Darius Slay, who's a member of the team, said something. Another member of the team responded to what he said. And then we reacted to what those guys said. Why does that make the Eagles community messy? I mean, I'm sorry. AJ, this is one, just hang the phone up and start playing Madden again. This is not something you needed to chime in on. And of course, like typical AJ Brown fashion, and again, I'm not mad at him for it, but he's just like us. The dude wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's shown us every range of emotion in the world since he's been here. And then 5 minutes later, what happens? He deletes all the tweets again because Big Dom sends him a text and says, yo, dude, shut the fuck up and stay out of it. It's like, AJ, stay on the sideline on this. What are you talking about? The Eagles community is messy. There's plenty of moments that we look like a messy community. All right. This one, I mean, what are we doing here, AJ? You just won a Super Bowl and you're chiming in and saying the fan base sucks. There was 2 million people on Broad Street cheering you on. I mean, come on, man. The most amount of merch ever sold after a Super Bowl championship came from those fans. Shut up, AJ. I love you, AJ. I don't want you traded. I'm not like a lot of other people. I don't think you're a diva, but please shut up.
Hey,
good night.
Who told you that Big Dom sent him that text? Take that shit down.
I know that's how the organization works.
Okay, because
I know from all many of the people we've had in the past that Big Dom is the guy that he does all that.
I was told to keep that quiet from a friend of mine there. I was just
Well, I mean, some people, I mean, I don't care. I don't need to keep anything quiet. Nobody asked me to keep anything off the record. Big Dom is the guy who facilitates all of those things. When something happens in the locker room, the first person dealing with it is Big Dom. It's not Bob Lang. Bob Lang.
Do you know who made the call? It was Lori.
Yeah, Lori probably, and then he gets Big Dom to handle it. Big Dom and Big Dom is very good at it. To be fair,
it's not Bob Lang that does that. Bob
Lang's more outward. Yeah,
Bob cares more about
the public
media and all that. Yeah. So from what I'm told, how it works is that Lori gets a wind of it, and he's like on top of all this stuff for whatever reason. Then Dom's like his hitman. He's like his Luca Brasi.
Remember, Lurie's super in love, very infatuated with the way people talk about him and talk about the organization. Yeah, and I think that's okay. By the way, I don't think that's a bad thing. No. He owns a team and he's a prideful man and he cares what people have to say. Now, maybe he goes a little too far sometimes, but I don't think it's a big deal. Now that we're talking about this too, and I was thinking about this earlier. You know what else has made me kind of appreciate this year? Appreciate two guys, all right? Because you see the way Slay and Gardner Johnson, and by the way, it's clear this isn't new. I mean, it's clear these guys aren't the bestest of friends. Remember what happened earlier in the year? They had a little bit of a spat as well on a podcast. I mean, this doesn't just come out of the blue, everybody. Slay and CJ Gardner Johnson were probably not the best of buds in the locker room, but it gives me a lot of respect for Vic Fangio because he is the perfect, if you think about his mentality and his approach and the way he handles things, he is the perfect coordinator to handle the personalities on this defensive side of the ball, right? Where he's got that no bullshit approach. He doesn't care about any of the optics. He's going to tell you what he wants from you. He's going to coach you up for that thing, and all the bullshit, save it for somebody else, right? I think that's the perfect old school approach for this specific player. CJ Gardner-Johnson, Slay, who's a little bit of a chatty Cathy, stuff like that. So I appreciate him. And the other guy I appreciate is Nick Sirianni, because he's been the leader of this ship. And there's been many moments where we have talked about some of the drama inside the Eagles locker room. And this team just pranced their way to a Super Bowl in dominant fashion. And, they did it as a team, as a unit, and played together the whole time, whether anybody disliked each other or not. So Nick Sirianni deserves a little bit of credit, I think, for that. And I think he's done a really good job at it. So Vic and Nick, I'm going to give a little credit for this one. By the way, let me just also tell my fans, the great people of JAKIB Nation, don't get your panties in a bind. We talked about this all for the last 3 years, people tweeting and people fighting and podcasting. We won the Super Bowl last year. Okay. Yeah. It's fun off-season conversation. It doesn't matter. Let's go win football games. Let's build a great football team. Let's play on Sunday at our best. Let's optimize who we are as a defense and as an offense, and let's build from there. None of this shit matters. Come on.
Listen, like I said, that shit matters when you lose.
Exactly.
When you win, it doesn't matter, because you've built the equity up to be a tool. As long as you win, it's all good. I mean, at the end of the day. So, I just realized
that, though, it's fun. It is fun, isn't it?
It is. I'll tell you, what I do realize now is that Big Dom is like call Saul in Breaking Bad. Just call Saul, man. Hey, get that shit done. Get that thing taken care of down there.
Big Dom is no joke. By the way, I met Big Dom. I have a picture with Big Dom. I got to find that. Maybe show it on the show.
How tall is he?
He's a big boy. He's a big dude.
Okay, good.
He's it's not about the tall. I think he's a towering presence. He's a cool dude, though. You can tell why.
Paisan.
You can tell why he's managed so many people, though, successfully. Think about it. He's been here for 25 years, Sileo. Yeah, he's probably managed thousands of players. By the way, he's the one who manages a lot of the family stuff with them. He manages so much stuff. So you can tell, though, why it works, because he's a very personable guy. No soft dead fish handshake there from Big Dom. So he was pretty cool stuff. I liked me. He was cool to meet, but yeah, cool dude.
Jags just released Evan Ingram. Would you be interested in that?
No.
Why?
Have you ever seen the guy block?
No.
He's not even that. One, he's a receiving tight end, and he's not even that good at receiving. And the other time, when you line him up as a tight end to block, he won't put a body. He's like a girl. It's like holding tissue paper. No, we don't need a guy like that. That's one thing I like about Goedert. He might take injuries, but that dude is physical. That dude is not afraid to get hit and to hit. So I don't want Evan Ingram. No way. Don't talk to me about him. Michael Mayer, I'll consider. A couple others, but I'm out on Evan Ingram. No.
How about this one? So Monday's Bullshit Monday. That's what we're going to dub it here on the Big Sil Show here on Monday, because that's supposedly tampering, official, non-tampering, something, whatever. Yeah. People have been tampering now. What are you high?
I know he's talking now.
Isn't that funny? That every time you see that, when the free agency comes, when it's 12:01, 88 deals are done. Yeah. What do you think they got that done right there in 1 minute? That's not what it works and how it works. So,
dude, how much NFL news has happened this week? You don't think people are having conversations? Come on.
Oh, so look, when you call an agent, when an agent and a team get together, Jonathan Allen is being released. Do you know what the guy's doing? The guy's telling him, he goes, "Hey, listen, man, if he clears waivers, we'd like to have maybe another shot, just at a lower number here. So what are you thinking? Hey, how many teams do you think are out there interested in him?" Well, I got 5 teams right now that would be interested in. That's how that shit goes on. Yeah. He's not going to tell you what 5 teams, but Allen's not going to be without a job 3 days after free agency starts on March 12th. He'll have a deal. He'll be, my opinion, he'll be a first day and maybe even Boza, a first or second day sign. Those two guys to be a first or second day sign. What do you think Howie's next move? What do you think his next move is?
Well, here, it's a good question, because there's a lot. That's why I love the offseason.
I kept saying this about you today. I kept going, Xander's been spending all day going, refresh.
I have. But here's the other thing, I was thinking about this as well. We've talked a lot about big trades. We've talked about we've talked about Myles Garrett. We've talked about, Trey Hendrickson. Apparently the asking price for him is a late second rounder. I don't think that's crazy at all, but
it's a deal. It's a deal like Brian Burns.
Yeah. Right. I think the Eagles are in a serious position of power right now, because And I'm specifically talking about the Myles Garrett trade, but I think it bleeds over into other things as well in the offseason. You know how it gets. When teams and GMs and coaches lose in the NFL, they get desperate. They get desperate very quick because they have to win or they're done. All right. So I think if you're the Eagles coming off a Super Bowl, your roster's largely intact. You have cap space. You have everything is at your disposal. I think you're going to have teams overpaying like crazy for free agents next week. I think you're going to have teams over trading for guys like Trey Hendrickson and other. And I'm not saying Trey's not a great player, but and there's Myles Garrett, who can't get a meeting with the owner. They won't trade him, and now he's threatening sitting out. So the longer that saga goes on in Cleveland, I think the more it helps a team like the Eagles, because every other team in the league that's desperate is going to be get rid of the asset, go draft this player, trade for this guy, sign this free agent, do that. And the Eagles can quietly wait in the weeds, wait for some of the stuff to work itself out. The asking price is probably going to creep down as teams fall out of the mix in terms of trading and paying Myles Garrett. And I think the Eagles could be the last team standing right there if they're patient with it. So I do think you're in a good position in that regard. In terms of next move, I was going to say Becton, and that's what I honestly feel. But, I've been thinking about Tyler Steen, and I'm not saying Steen's as good as Becton or is even the same player, but
I think the next move's Burks.
No, they're not going to pay it. Dude, they're not. What you said yesterday is more likely. Draft a linebacker.
Because
they need to be cost effective.
You really think that guy's You think that guy's a $5 million a year ball player?
Who? Warren Burks?
Yeah.
I think there's dumb teams in the league that watch them play well in the Super Bowl and have trash cans at linebacker and are probably willing to give him the gig.
I'd give him what Bond made last year, 3.5. I'd up him. Dude, he's making $900,000 now.
Yeah, I would do it.
Up to 6. I'm not saying Eagles won't.
You understand where I'm coming from, though, right?
I do. No, you're not wrong.
Gave the biggest linebacker contract they've given, maybe since I've been alive. All right, so I don't think they're going to invest crazy more assets at that in terms of money. I think they're maxed out at what they want to spend on linebackers. So I don't think they're going to sign him back. Honestly, I feel like they're going to elevate Trotter as the backup, and they maybe will use another draft pick on a guy. Another guy they seemingly really like in the room is Ben Van Sumeren, who they've been kind of developing. And I like him from an athleticism standpoint. I don't know about what he can do in terms of an every down player in the league, but probably nothing, to be honest with you. But I don't see it. I don't see him signing Norman Burks. And the Becton thing, which is why I said that, is, I think you sign Saquon, and it makes you want to double down on Becton, right? Because he's the great run blocker. He's that big force that helped open up. I mean, how many holes? Let's be real. Saquon had what, 7 60-plus yard touchdowns? I think 3 of them were right up the hole behind Mekhi Becton, for crying out loud. So, with Landon Dickerson pulling over, but I think he's a priority. I just wonder if they're like, hey, we spent a 3rd-round pick on Tyler Steen, man. He's going into year 3. Like, let's get him into the action. I don't know. I could see that. So I think you're at a good spot with this Eagles team in terms of what the next move is. I think the fact that it's not obvious shows you that the Eagles are in a good spot. Before Bond, it was, we got to get Zach Bond, right? So they got that done, and I think you're in a good position right now, but we'll see what they end up doing next. Could be interesting to see. Hey, maybe it's Dallas Goedert.
He has no money owed to him except the contract. If you extend him, you're talking about freeing up cap. Remember, every time you see someone extended in Philly, it's all John's right about this. He may not be right about Ben Van McMullen, but I know he loves Ben Van McMullen there.
You gotta be kidding me.
Hey, but at the end of the day, he's not wrong. Every time there's an end to a mean there when they extend people. Okay, it's all about cap space there. So if you gave Goddard, like you said, maybe you give Goddard a 2-year deal, dude. 2-year deal. I'm not wrong with that. My problem is that a $15 million a year guy?
Who, Becton?
No. Goddard. Is he a 15?
Oh, Goddard. Oh, yeah. Mm.
Now, you brought a spectacular point up today. Again, keep hammering him. Who had the most receptions in the postseason? Okay, well, that showed you one thing that you're right on. It's a luxury that they had, and it's a security blanket for us to have. Is that worth having him out there, or some dude who you couldn't, if he had a pail in his hand, catch a football in Grant Calcaterra?
Yeah.
Or would you rather have that, or would you rather have a guy you're paying that kind of money to who's got exceptional hands? And by the way, I've always said this about him. I think that guy's got a better nose for the end zone than what even Zach Ertz ever had.
Well, yeah. Well, he's certainly more athletic than Ertz. I mean, if he did stay on the field, Goedert
Oh,
would
yeah.
be, he would be. I mean, I think John said today it's between him and Devontae Smith as most playoff yards in Eagles history, which is crazy to think about. I mean, just that's wild. But I look, football's a game of inches. Everybody says, oh, you can move on from Goedert and your offense is good enough. Well, it is, but Lamar thought he had a good offense last year. It was just short. Josh Allen thought his offense was good enough. It was just short. Like maybe that extra thing that you have with Goedert, that was the reason that he was the highest or had the most yards in the playoffs. Like maybe those are the things that I think we shouldn't think twice about, and maybe those are more worth it than we think, where if AJ doesn't play well here, we have this option. If Goedert doesn't play well here, we have this option. If Saquon doesn't play well here, we have these options. I don't, just because you have an abundance of it doesn't make me want to just get rid of it. I think I'd rather keep Goedert in the room, but to answer your question about 15 million, I think that's probably a little steep. I mean, that feels big, but look, he is a good tight end. I mean, you're probably not going to find anybody in the open market that's as good as him.
Absolutely not. Couple last ones here for you. We'll read some super chats. Guys, please put them up. We'll have them at the end of this segment. Please hit the like button here too. I heard you say something this morning, and then, one thing that made me this week, and this is where, again, I'm growing with more respect for the Gator general manager. Sorry, I got to.
For who?
For the Gator.
Can you say that one more time?
For the Gator general manager, or your guy, Howie Roseman. I'm sorry, I almost threw up in my hand here. But I'm starting to get a little more respect for the guy, and I'll tell you why. So Haslam in Cleveland thinks that the problem is going to go away by not fucking addressing Myles Garrett. And he just assumes that he thinks that that's just going to go away, and we don't want to talk about it, where he has all the leverage in the world. I don't want to play for you. You could give me all the, you know what's happened here, why he doesn't want to meet. Because he doesn't want the 3-year, 116 extension. His agent probably told him that, but they don't want to go public with that yet. And he said, I don't give a fuck how much you pay me. I'm not staying here. I don't want to. That's the leverage that Garrett has.
Right.
That's why I think the owner came back and went, I'm not meeting with the guy, and I'm just going to fold my hands. Here's the difference between, you think Jeffrey Lurie would let Jalen Carter walk out of the building knowing that he's got to drop a $40 million note next year per annual salary to that guy, and that's coming, 38 to 40 million bucks. That guy, in my opinion, you could say all the shit you want about Lurie, but the one thing he does do, they pay him if you perform, and they see you as part of the future, and they like you. In my opinion, look at Mike Brown. Mike Brown, because they franchise tagged T. Higgins, and because they gave Burrow the money, they're going to let a guy who led the NFL in sacks walk out of the building because you don't want to fucking pay him? I mean, this just shows you where the Eagles are running circles around people. The owner pays, the owner meets, and the general manager figures it out.
This is a joke.
You know what Howie is? Howie's a problem solver.
This is a literal joke. All right. And let me explain something very clearly here. I think this is a problem bigger than this scenario, but a big problem in the world where people don't like to have conversations. Okay. Yep. Let me tell you something right now. Jimmy Haslam has owned the Browns since 2012. He has two winning seasons since 2012, and the winning seasons were 11-5 and 11-6. His record in 13 years as an owner of that football team is 73 and 138. Jeffrey Lurie shouldn't even be mentioned in the same breath as him because Jeffrey Lurie doesn't have these problems. You're telling me Jimmy Haslam, that has nothing of success as an owner in the NFL, isn't going to meet with maybe the only good thing that's ever happened to the Browns organization in his tenure, and that's have a Hall of Fame player in Myles Garrett. You won't even pick up the phone and say, Myles, I know you want to talk about this with me. I'm going to leave this in the general manager's hands. I'm going to let Andrew Berry manage it. I respect you coming to me, but I don't want to step on my general manager's toes. I hope we can come to an agreement. You can't even have that conversation? Dude, that's bad ownership. That's bad managing of a company. That's bad everything through and through. I don't know how you could look at it and think like that and then expect that you're going to have some sort of success moving forward as an owner. You're not. What you've done in the last 12 years or 13 years as an owner is exactly what you'll always be as an owner. You will lose a majority of the games you play. You'll never have a team of substance, of value, and you won't get great players to come and want to play in your organization. And handling Myles Garrett like that is one of the best ways to solidify that that never happens. So what a joke by Jimmy Haslam.
How about to expand on that? And in the process, in the last 26 years of you owning the fucking team, you signed the worst contract in the history of football.
Exactly.
With Deshaun Watson's contract. He's not even going to play this coming season. You have and you're searching for a guy in Cam Ward. You're praying is somebody. I mean, dude, you expand that. So you make the Browns make one shitty move after another, and it's compiled. I mean, they took a crap on Art Modell, rightfully so, the way he yanked the team out and moved it to Baltimore. They fucking won at least. I mean, they never got to a Super Bowl, but they got to AFC championships, and they were good. And by the way, Art Modell was the guy who won the Super Bowl when he had the Ravens in Baltimore. I'm just saying, dude, you shit all over Art Modell. He was the best owner you had since Paul Brown. Now you got this guy making decision after decision. And his reasoning is this: I don't want to meet with him. Fuck, dog. That's not going away. That problem is not going away. That's why I think Myles he has leverage, man. I think he's going to tell them,
well,
I'm
yeah.
not playing.
If he doesn't play, I mean, every guy has leverage in terms of that, but Myles could also mess up his career. I mean, look what Hassan Reddick did. Look at how many other instances there are of that where, yeah, the player will win eventually, but it might not be good for the player.
Yeah, but here's the difference. I got $79 million coming to me.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
That's true.
Dude.
I just think, I think this handling of this by Haslam, I don't know if it's been reported completely accurately, but I mean, what are we talking about here? The best guy you've ever had in your ownership, who's going to the Hall of Fame, wants to meet with you, and you're telling him no. You can't have a phone call. You can't have a conversation. You can't sit down with that guy. I mean, I just don't understand that thinking at all. I would meet, if I was the owner of a team, I would meet with the 53rd man on the roster if he wanted to meet with me about something. I don't care. I would meet with the janitor. I don't give if somebody wants to talk to me about something and the time is in my day to do that, and they care, or they are representing a common thing. In my case, it would be JAKIB. In Jimmy Haslam's case, it's the Browns. I would meet with them, but I don't know. Maybe I have a different take on it than others. I think that's just egregious on his part to do it. But hey, all this controversy, let's go for the birds again.
Let me give you a little something that I just got here, a little nugget. So it looks like the 49ers are now the favorites to get Jonathan Allen. And so looks like they're probably going to add Joey Bosa. They'll have Bosa, Allen, Nick Bosa, and Fred Warner. And maybe they're going to have a health. I mean, if I were looking at the teams, now again, Zander, you're at the poll. You're far ahead of all these teams. Okay, right now. And I would say this: 49ers get health. They ink up their boy. I get him at a decent price. I'm not paying him 50. I'll give him 45. Okay. You got Brandon Ayuk back. You get health with Trent Williams. You get Kittle back. You get the whole unit back. 49ers could be somebody. I'm not saying that they're a contender to win the NFC. I'm not. I'm saying you never know how things fall out. You improve your defense. the Rams, in my opinion, are the team. If I were to look at one team, we kind of hit this yesterday a little bit, but going back, Verse is going to be better. Fisk is going to be better. Kitchens is going to be better. The entire Ayuk is going to be better. Don't be shocked if Devontae Adams lands in Los Angeles. You get Ayuk and you get Puka Nacua, and you get Devontae Adams, who I still think has ball with him, with Matthew Stafford, and with that organization. I think the Rams are a really good organization. I like the way they do.
Yeah.
I do. If you had to pick a team, is it still Washington and Detroit, or could you see the Rams in that conversation?
I could see the Rams. What I can't see right now is the 49ers. I'm sorry. And I'm looking at this objectively because I think their roster is old and aging. I don't think they've done the right moves, the right contingency plans to handle turnover on their roster. I think they're in a really shitty spot with the quarterback. Do they want to pay him? And I don't dislike Brock Purdy, but when you pay him, what other fallouts are going to happen on your roster? I just don't. I think in a way that window that they had is rearview mirror, and they have to retool. I think they're where the Eagles were in 2019, 2020, where they didn't want to admit to themselves that they needed to regroup, and they struggled because of it. I don't think the 49ers are going to get better. I'm sorry. I just don't. I know they have some great players. A lot of the players you name, though. How old's Fred Warner? How old's Trent Williams? How old's George Kittle? Brandon Ayuk, good player coming off a big injury on a massive contract. I don't even think he can hold a candle to Devontae Smith. I'm sorry. It's Christian McCaffrey. What a great player he is. What's he going to look like moving forward? I don't see it with the 49ers. And I'm not saying that from an Eagle fan. I'm saying that because objectively, I really don't see them as that one going to be one of the top teams in the NFC. I don't think they're built for it. I think we talked about this a little bit ago. I think those 3 first-round picks that they sent for that dude, they managed it well at the time and they got to the Super Bowl. But all of a sudden, like I just said, there's no contingencies in play. There's no young, good players on that roster. Why? Because they didn't have first-round picks. So I think they're not in the best spot, and I think they have a lot of work to do to get back to it. By the way, I just looked it up. They're one of the oldest rosters in the NFL.
You want to bet they draft that kid from Boise State?
Ashton Genty?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would not make.
I'm not either. I think he's a really good.
I like him, but I think he's got to go to the right team. I heard Cowboys talk about him too. I'm like, what do you want him for? Why did Dallas fans do? What? It's like Dallas fans are glutton for punishment. Why
Dallas needs a guard?
You want to draft a running back in the first round?
Need a guard,
dude. Your team
need a running back,
dude. Who does Dak Prescott throw to besides CeeDee Lamb?
I don't know.
Dude, the Dallas Cowboys
need an O-line.
They have a bust on the defensive line. They're losing offensive linemen. Their defensive ends are all old. What are you talking about? You want Ashton Genty? This is where Howie and the Eagles. We don't worry about these things in Philly because we don't build our team this way. We don't build our team this way.
You build it in the trenches.
Build it in the trenches, and you worry about all the other shit next. And you can even miss egregiously on guys like Jalen Reagor and recoup and readjust and have 2 starting quarterbacks in 4 years and 2 Super Bowls in 7 years with 2 entirely different teams. When you're forward thinking, when you stay ahead of it, when you stay ahead of your roster, and you make moves like Howie Roseman does. All these other GMs, I don't know what the hell they're doing.
Last one here for you. Of all the guys that are remaining free agents, who is the least expendable Eagle free agent right now? And that's, get this, assuming you could sign anybody you wanted.
Right.
Who do you think is the most important person that you're kind of concerned about replacing if you have to lose? Who would that be?
Well, I'm going to preface it by saying, you bring up this question. It's a great question, but it shows you that I really do feel pretty good about all the spots with where we are. If I had to answer, I'd probably say Becton, just because of this. Saquon Barkley had 400 plus carries last year. You just signed him to a massive contract, a well-earned, a well-deserved contract for him. You've committed now your offense to probably what you saw last year. This is going to be the style, at least for the next year or 2. Do we want to rotate an undersized guard in Tyler Steen, who I don't think has been bad, do we want to go to him
Mm-mm.
and risk messing up the continuity that we built in the running game last year? I think if you're telling me we can sign anybody, I think why not bring him back there? If you're not worried about the 3rd-round pick you spent on Steen, I would probably lean Mekhi Becton. I think you could make a case for Josh Sweat. Not that he's going to come back, but edge
Right.
rushers are a premium in the NFL. If you don't have a good contingency to replace him outside of the NFL draft, you could argue that Josh Sweat would be there. The one guy who, and I disagree with many Eagles fans on this, and I've come to this conclusion after much offseason talk the last couple of weeks, I think you can easily let Milton Williams walk. $25 million. You're playing next to Jalen Carter. You were playing in front of Zach Bond. I hope you get paid because you earned it, Milton. I want you to get paid. I don't want this to read as though I dislike the player or I don't like the guy or I don't think he's earned the money. We don't need to spend $25 million in the city of Philadelphia for Milton Williams right now. I'm sorry. That does not make sense. So him, I'm perfectly fine letting walk.
How about the production that will be the toughest to replace? Because hear me out here. Milton Williams, everything you said is correct. And plus, I got to think about the guy next year in 26 offseason.
Exactly. Who you just said might get $40 million, and you're probably not far off.
I got to think about that dude where I got to look at the mind because I got to think about what I'm doing with that dude. My question would be the production, though, Sweat gives you a ton of reps.
Yeah, I would
gives
agree.
You a really great line at the end of the year. Milton gives you the versatility. Like I mentioned, playing in a 7-5 and 3 techniques, can go up and down, can even play nose for you. I mean, he gives you so much, and that's what I think he's going to be paid for because he's productive. Here, watch this. Jordan Davis is not productive in a 3. He's barely productive in a 2 technique.
Yeah.
He's productive right now in a nose. Milton is productive on a 7, 5, 3, and a 0 technique.
That's true about Milton.
He is productive. Oh, that's his value. It's not the gigantic numbers. It's that he's good. You can put him any. I think that's why Vic wanted him in Miami because he's so versatile. And that's, I think, one of the staples of the defense last year and the versatility of Bond going up and down the sidelines, covering tight ends, blitzing, being in that seam. Same thing with Dean Doral. Look at the versatility of Cooper DeJean. You lose a little bit of that versatility with Milton in there. That concerns me.
I agree with that.
He plays 3 different positions. He's kind of 3 players wrapped up in one.
You're right. He's good in the 7 tech, 5 tech. He's good at every spot on that defensive line. And you're not wrong about that. I do wonder because you just said that, I wonder if there was a sort of a conversation between Howie and Vic, and I'm speculating, but like, hey, Vic, I can't get all of them, but if you could only have one, would it be Bond? Would it be Milton? Would it be Josh? Like, I do wonder if that conversation took place because I think I'd love to hear Vic Fangio's answer because I agree Milton is versatile, but dude, you're playing next to Jalen Carter. Like he was the best defensive tackle in the NFL last year outside of Chris Jones, and you could maybe even make an argument he was as good or better than Chris Jones. Probably not last year, but I think he will be moving forward. I don't know. I mean, I hear you. And by the way, you brought up the point on Jordan Davis. Yo, if we're going to talk about extending Jordan Davis, you got to at least get to being able to play a 3 technique. I don't need you to play 5 or wide or any of that stuff, but if you can't play a 3 technique, dude, I can't pay you $12 million, $10 million if you can't do that. I mean, dude, you're a burly defensive lineman. You got to be a little bit more versatile than just a nose. I'm sorry, you have to be. But anyway, I digress. On that. But I agree with you on Milton. It's going to be interesting to see, but Sills, he's going to get a huge bag of money.
Dude. Yeah, 3 years, 80 plus he's going to get. There's no doubt. I mean, hey, just to your point, Kobe Turner with 9 sacks last year when Aaron Donald was playing next to him. I didn't hear about that kid this year. Yeah. I didn't even know he was on the field. I heard about the rookies.
That's a great point. Yeah.
I heard about the rookies all year, Fiskin with the other kid here. So, Xander, I think we only have a few supers today. Guys, by the way, you've been absolutely great. And I got to tell you one thing, Xander. All the shit that's been going on around the show.
I love it.
I do too. And I'll tell you this. I got to thank our folks.
Oh, they're the best.
Have they not gotten my back everywhere, social media here, everywhere? I mean, I don't get that. I've never had, I told you this before, my wife, my aunt, everyone, they're concerned every single day that I lose my job. Every day because of what this industry has done to me.
I don't know why
It's
they have
inner.
those
I mean,
concerns.
I get it, but you know what?
Yeah, I
They
get where
are,
you're coming from. They have experience in it. I understand,
yeah,
but
and
the faith is not,
it's not friendly. And so to see, and then John Morgan post that on my Twitter page.
That's one guy I wouldn't want coming
I
after
wouldn't
me.
want that dude. Hey, you understand that guy gives $5 to $6 million politically on both sides of the aisle every 4 years. They go after him and on their knees, scraping, getting money off him. And he goes, I stand with Big Sills. I mean, I think our whole community now, man, I got to tell you, man, I agree. I think they're afraid of us now, man.
Well, there's a lesson. There's a lesson in there, and I hope that the two guys who can't keep your name out of their mouth are listening, because they don't understand. They're missing something here that will be the reason and has been the reason for the demise of traditional outlets. Look at what you've done. Look at the community that you've built. Look at the way people say they resonate with you and your show, and look at how passionate they are to defend us and JAKIB. They're missing it. They care what Sileo, they care about what a headline read 13 years ago. They care about what Sileo's take on Jalen Hurts was. They're missing what you do that makes you so special. And I believe, obviously, would have never been realistic and early in your career, but I believe this platform that you have been massive part of building is the best setup for Big Sills, because it allows you to get so close and personal with the people that, and by the way, I do think, not to toot my own horn at all, and I'm not saying it for this reason, but I think there's been a shift in the channel in the last year where we used to kind of just be this big network that had a bunch of shows and a bunch of different things, and people listened to who they liked, but there was no true connection with the audience. Now I think this has really become a community. This has really become a legion of Eagles fans, supporters, Big Sills supporters that want to be here every day, that like to hang out with us. And, I'm proud of it. I think you should be proud of it, because you do an incredible job at building up your community. And again, as long as they're talking, Big Sills, keep talking, baby, because we ain't going anywhere.
I got to tell you, man, you don't know the people that have been behind the scenes, like texting me. Angelo last night sent me laughing faces all night long going, hey, you should be so proud and you should be in JAKIB. And so and we had a guy post something going, hey, if Mike thought this guy was so bad of a person, why'd he go on your show 22 times?
Really?
Oh, wait, let me guess. It's because you got into a contract dispute with you and your dad.
Also,
the guy decided.
What man goes on a public forum and calls another man a misogynist? Like, what does that even mean? Like what? Like, that is the weirdest thing I've ever. I was listening to that and I'm like, what, bro? What are we talking about here? But anyway, I digress. I'm gonna let everybody do what they want to do. You know what I'm gonna keep doing, Sills? I'm gonna keep focusing on what we got. I'm gonna keep focusing on.
Give me the Jalen Hurts line. Well, what's the Jalen? Right?
Keep the main thing, and focus on what we control. I think they work here well. I really do. Let's keep focusing on JAKIB. Let's keep building up this community, this sandbox, because ultimately, as you just thank the people, I thank them every day, and I hope they know how much I'm appreciative of it. But these people give us freedom from all of the bullshit you see in the corporate broadcast world, all of the things that have held Sills back, all of the things that have slandered you and created a narrative around you that you still fight to this day, 13, 15, 10 years later. All right. These people are, I can't thank them enough, because we wouldn't be here without them. We really wouldn't. So it's really
but you know what? I got to say one last thing to you and your dad. You know how many people, I got to give you one last story, then we'll read a few of the super chats here. So let me tell you a story about Phoenix, because there's a story out there. I walked into, and I was going to do a show in Phoenix, and we had, get this, I walked in, iHeart was going to bring me back, and I was going to do it from San Diego, and I was going to do an afternoon show. I walk in there, dude, they had this giant rollout. I had everybody in iHeart, Linda Little, everybody, the market manager. And I walked in and I said, you know what my wife said? I'll be fired by Friday. And you know what they said? They never fired me. We just did it. We walked away from it. I go, we'll never do it. We're iHeart. We don't do that. And I went, my wife says, you won't last past Friday. And so I did a couple shows for him that week.
Your wife knows you well.
Hey, but I didn't. And then get this. People in the company called in. I got a call on Friday night. Hey, we're not going to release anything. I go, you're kidding me. We're not going to move forward with this. And I go, my wife was right. She said I wouldn't last past Friday. It was Monday. They told me they would never buckle. Friday, they said we can't because we're too nervous about you.
5 years in April, Big Sills. 5 years in April.
April 26th.
5 year. Big Sills has been with JAKIB for 5 years, baby.
It's incredible. Hasn't it flown?
The best is yet to come. That's all
Absolutely.
I'll say, because I truly believe that. I think you truly believe that.
I
hope
do.
people in the chat believe that, because we're really just, I mean, I know you've been here for 5 years, so it doesn't feel like this, but we're really just getting this thing going, man. We're really just starting to crank this sucker out. We're learning more about this every single day. We're learning more about the community, what to do to make better content. It's all we're in a great spot, and we appreciate each and every one of you guys for listening, because you guys make it possible. But that's a great Big Sill story.
Absolutely. Hey, I think we just got a few today.
Yeah, Boulevard. Thank you, brother. Boulevard becomes a member. Thank you, my
Thank
man.
you.
I appreciate that. Memberships go a long way for us. So big thanks to you, Boulevard. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Brian Pumper, the legendary Pumper. Pumper, will you go to the shit list, or will you get off?
Hey, by the way, has his takes gotten better?
No, Pumper's been honestly. Pumper's seriously been down bad. Pumper, I love you, but like you're struggling. You're worse than what Sileo's predictions were for the season. All right, you've got to get better. He says this dude AJ always want to interject in drama. Okay, send that bum to New England for number 4 and Gonzo. Get it done, Howie. Female tendencies too strong with this one. Come on, Pump. We ain't getting rid of AJ Brown, but I do agree he didn't need to interject at all.
Oh my God. Come on, Pump.
Come on, Pumper.
Yeah.
Illuminati 85 says resign Morrow. He had 95 tackles and 3 sacks in 23.
Come on.
Bro,
hey,
we're not. You can't tell me we're talking about Nicholas
85. The only post you had that was worthy is the one that you've been here since fucking day one.
Yo, Illuminati, bro. We just got an all-pro linebacker for the first time in maybe ever, and you're telling me you want to re-sign Nicholas Morrow?
No, thank you.
No. 85, please, no.
Nick Morrow, give me a break.
For the love of Pete. Brian Pumper. We got Keely and Trot. Save those other dudes for the bum teams. No more shopping at the retirement home. It's a young man's game.
That's a good take.
That's a good take.
Hey, by the way, Pump, they should have been playing these guys in 23.
Let me ask you something.
I think that had a lot to do with the crazy defensive coordinator that they put in over Desai. I think that had a lot to do with what's
all right. Well, let me ask you a question then on this, because I don't disagree with Pumper, but I'll say this. If Slay's gone, Brandon Graham is gone, Lane Johnson's is he your only guy left that's older than 31, 32? I mean, are you any concerned at all about the lack of veteran presence in the locker room? And remember, we've had a couple of years here, Sileo, where rookies in Philadelphia have played incredibly well. I don't know if they're tied together. Correlation's not causation, I understand. But do you lose that? Do you value that old guy? Because now with Slay and BG potentially gone, you're not really looking at a large contingency of older guys.
Are you trusting that the winning has made leaders of these players that you've had?
It has. I think it has for sure.
Okay, well, then you've got to feel comfortable in your player development, in your leader development, that players are differentiating themselves. You know who I would look at as the young leaders and the aspiring leaders? I would look at guys like Hurts, Mulata, Devontae Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I might even look at, by the way, Zach Bond might be a leader now.
Yeah, I think he will be.
How you look at how you were down here where no one likes you, and all of a sudden you're fucking over here. And as a matter of fact, I think
Barkley too. Good one, Crawley. Barkley too.
You know, let me throw this at you. What Jason called? Are you? Do you think the Eagles are still pausing in any way on Jalen Carter? And see, I disagree with Jay. I disagree.
Well, I don't disagree with Jason. I just don't think that Jason
That's a big number. That's a big number.
Covers the league. Remember, Jason isn't focused on Philadelphia. So I think if he was a little more focused on Philadelphia, he would probably have seen that Jalen has all of that stuff is in the past now. And I honestly think Jalen is really.
He's got a couple bumps during the season when he's on the sidelines doing some of that stupid shit too.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I
get it. It's hooligan shit. It's not something that makes me go nuts on. I got it.
Well, here's the thing too. If I asked you to stop being Dan Sileo, what would that do to this show?
No,
it wouldn't work. If I stopped being myself, what would that do to my show?
No, I played like that.
So exactly. So Jalen Carter, yeah, he's an angry dude. Yeah, he slaps Steelers guys in the helmet. Yeah, he punches some dudes in the head sometimes. Yeah, he does. He's the best defensive tackle in football. I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't care at all. All right. He seems to be handling his business off the field. Obviously, has to continue to do that, but I don't have any concern.
Hey, I got to tell you, I think Clint Hurt's the best coach for him.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Another good match.
You see what Clint did on the sidelines when Nick came over there? He's like, I got the guy.
I'll handle it. Yep.
I think because let me tell you something about Clint. He's a no shit dude too, and he's a big dude. Yeah. You're not going to get in his grill. I know him personally. He's one of them dudes. You know, Zander, they put a great coaching staff together defensively this last year. I mean, the Bobby King kid, Clint Hurt, Vic, the DB coach. Fuck, man. They really did a great job.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. They I talked about it a little earlier with I think the way Nick handled the locker room. I think the way Vic handled the locker room. You bring up Clint Hurt. I think Bobby King was a great match. They really did assemble a good coaching staff this year. It worked out really well. So good stuff. Let's keep rolling here. Sileo Blaze, I don't know if you've got these. I think I came on right at this point. He says, if we cut Goedert, we're trading up for Warren. I doubt that, dude.
No, I don't either. No way.
Dude, I doubt that. We need picks.
If you cut Goedert, you're going to take the Miami kid.
Dude, remember, we don't have any 6th and 7th rounders, too. We have 3 5s, a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1. We got 7 picks in this draft. They're not like swimming in picks anymore. Those days are in the past.
You don't really think you didn't like my yesterday when I said tied in at 2.
Well, that's where John had him today because I took your exercise, which I thought was great, and I did it with John today. And I'll read you off what I put and what he put. I put with the 7 picks. I went DN round 1. Offensive line round 2 because I just think they're going to stick to their trenches. Tight end round 3, defensive tackle round 4, linebacker round 5, and I got that right from you. I thought what you said yesterday was perfect. Round 6, I went running back because I don't think they're going to sign Kenny Gainwell. And round 7, I went wide receiver, but I think you could also go maybe secondary guy safety there. John went defensive tackle round 1, tight end round 2, defensive end round 3. Wide receiver, and he didn't really put these in order, but wide receiver, defensive back, defensive line, and running back with the last 4 picks. So John had tight end at 2. I had tight end at 3. You had tight end at 2. We all know they need a tight end right in that range.
You know, pretty interesting on the wide. I didn't think about it because I don't think they like the kid Smith, and I don't think they like the FSU kid. Would they go in there with that 4th round pick? And would they drop a wide receiver in there? I mean, that, and by the way, that would be like a Nick pick because that's his former position, that he was a position coach. And am I right when I say this? Every single draft that they've had since he's been the head coach, haven't they taken a wide receiver?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to think
Devontae was the first year with Nick. And then I'd have to look, but I think so.
I think every year that he's been there, that they've drafted a wideout. I mean, so, or I know this, they brought that kid from Indianapolis over.
Last year they drafted Anias and Johnny. The year before that, they did not draft a wideout in 23. 22, no, as well. They drafted a tight end, Calcaterra, in the 6th. And then 21, they drafted Smith, obviously, in round 1. And 2020, which was the last year of Doug, was Jalen Reagor, John Hightower, Queasy Watkins, and all that.
Okay.
I think Quez's name is now Queasy. We've called him that so many times.
Yeah, we labeled him that.
All right, here we go. Illuminati. Would you trade DG and a pick to Arizona for McBride. DG. Who's DG? Dallas
Yeah.
Goedert and a pick to Arizona for McBride. Why would they give up McBride?
No. Again, I got to love Eagle fans. You guys want to get the better end of the deal always, but stop trading.
Well, bro, Howie always wins. We're spoiled from Howie. Every deal that happens, we've won.
I mean, this guy wants to send Trevor Keegan for Zach Thomas or for Zach Martin.
There's only one deal that maybe we didn't win, and it was a draw. It was when we traded up for Devontae Smith, and Dallas picked Micah Parsons at 12, and we took Smitty at 10.
I'd take Smitty.
The bold take.
Because, and get this, that's my very first horrible take on this network.
Yeah. There we go. It was. Brian Fleming. Oh, I did. By the way, I understood your logic in that take. It didn't work out for you, but I understood where you were coming from. Brian Fleming says, what do you think of Landry from the Titans? I think it's Harold Landry. Just got cut. Like him at edge for cheaper than most. Also, can I get a Jahan Dotson?
Yeah, I like that. Jahan Dotson.
There you go. Harold Landry. I don't dislike him. I think he was pretty productive last year too. Let me look up what his stat line was.
Remember when he clears waivers, that contract, now you're just putting a bidding number together because once these guys clear, Jonathan,
dude, he signed a 5-year, $87 million deal in 22. Like what?
Yo, that money's gone.
That money's gone, right? That guaranteed money.
The only thing that's due him is it was whatever the guarantee was. Outside of that whole contract, that's why the guaranteed money. Now he had 9 sacks last year, dude. I mean,
I don't hate it. I don't either. It's not a bad call, Brian. I don't think it's a bad call.
No.
We'll see. We'll see what
9 sacks. Hey, man, everyone wants to play in Philly now.
Look, they're going to do something at edge. They're losing Brandon Graham, presumably, and Josh Sweat. They got to do something, and it's more than just a draft pick.
I think it's going to be what the board looks like at 32.
Well, I think they're going to do that, but I don't think they're going to end there. I think they're going to have to do something else, unless they believe in Huffle Schnufflegus. Brian Pumper, last one. Captains should be Hurts, Saquon, Lane, Landon, Bond, Jordan, and CJ. Jordan
Davis?
Jordan Mailata. Wow, that's a good captain group. I think I agree with everything. I don't know about CJ. I know
I'll put Devontae there.
CJ is an emotional leader of the football team because he brings such a big energy. But I don't say this as a knock on him because I do like him. I like his personality. I think there's a place for it. But I don't think he's the type of guy that wears a C on their chest in terms of he's a little bit erratic. He's a little bit emotional. Again, those are all good things. That's what helps him play good. But I don't see him as a captain. We'll see what ends up happening there.
He's a fucking Gator. I'm not making him my captain. Fuck that.
I do think Pumper laid out pretty good one. So
yeah, that's a good look. I would put Devontae there for CJ.
Lane and Landon, both good. Lane will probably get it.
Would you put Jurgens over there?
Nah.
Tell you what, man, him playing the way he played with his balls out
but Landon's more of a guy. I mean, you see Landon do those breakdowns. I choose violence.
All right. Okay. I'm good with it.
I love it. I love it. I used to have a shirt. I would, you see, if I was,
are you wearing actually Tennessee colors? How dare you?
No, I'm wearing Miami colors.
Okay. I'm going to go there.
No, I can't do that because, somebody said that to me once. I wore a blue Kangol and like, that's Cowboys colors. I'm like, oh, so I can never wear blue again because some random team in Dallas is colored blue? No.
Oh, the Cowboys are random.
Fuck the Cowboys. I'm wearing blue, and it's not going to have to do with the Cowboys because I like blue.
The only thing I get more shit for is that fucked up helmet I have back there. That's the only. Xander's like this, I used
to have a shirt that. Did you not see that Landon Dickerson get? I choose violence. I used to have a shirt that said "Give violence a chance." That's a little too. That's not PC enough for.
Let me tell you what Xander said there. I'll tell you guys a little bit behind the curtain. So Xander goes like this. When we put these these clips together and shit. The only thing that fucks them up. I'm like, what hurts it? He goes, that fucking cowboy helmet always gets in the middle of that. And it's hey, just so you know, he's looking out for you guys all the time. He's going like, the fucking cowboy helmet, man.
I got a comment last night. What the fuck is that? What is that? People have like aneurysm. Yeah, I'm telling you, they warps people. That thing. It's Swagger. No, this is not Nike, bro. This is that's McLaren.
Oh, oh my God, it's F1 stuff.
I got that at the F1 thing and I'm not. By the way, I'm not a McLaren
In Miami?
I'm a Red Bull fan. I'm a Red Bull F1 fan because I like Max Verstappen is my guy.
Hey,
But
did you watch the St. Pete last week? I did.
no, I didn't catch it. I've been so swamped on all this stuff. But
I watch that every weekend. I watch F1.
Yeah, F1's dope. Dude. I love F1.
Yeah,
F1's cool,
yeah.
but I'm a big Verstappen guy. I like Verstappen, but this sweatshirt's really dope. It's got McLaren's on the back. Look.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic.
It's cool. It's a cool sweatshirt. Yeah, it's a cool sweatshirt. So I had to pick it up.
All right, brother.
All right, man.
I appreciate you, man. Great stuff this week. We've had
you had a killer week, bro. Everybody dropped some claps in the chat. Sileo had a really banger week this week. He had a couple big ass shows, big ass reactions to some new moves that the Eagles made, some big interviews, great guests, really good show this week.
I think personally, people got a little aggravated about that in your market there. So I don't know. Maybe that's what's happening here a little bit here. Hey, do me a favor. Will you fucking get me the goddamn clip, man? Please get me that son of a bitch. I know that you're going to be.
I can't do it. I don't have enough hands to do what I want to do to help our show. And now I need personal clips for Sileo. I mean, you got to be kidding me. I'll get it for you.
Hey, bro, I love you, man. Thank you so much, dude. I will catch you down the line here. Don't forget to catch him on Fake Ass News Tampering Monday. Make sure you check that out because, hey, what a week. Hey, you thought this last week. Wait till this coming week with us stirring the pot with that big old spoon of yours, man.
Wait. Next week's going to be epic, by the way.
Absolutely.
Oh, my great Catholics, no meat today. Remember, everybody, no meat. Say an extra prayer on this Friday. Still, appreciate you, brother.
You got it, dude. Appreciate Zander so much, guys. Do me a favor. Please hit that like button here. Don't forget our great friends at BetUS. NC2A tournament is right around the corner. Also, too, the conference basketball tournaments. What a great place for you to go and make some bets with our friends at BetUS. Partnership that we have had is absolutely blowing up. For you to be able to be part of the YouTube 150, giving you opportunities of signing bonuses up to 2K. Again, your second and third are 125%. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business. 24/7 personalized service, 365 days of the year. Live wagering on all major games. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sil sent you.